Studio. You're welcome inside the locker room on Smooth 90.1. If you just joined us, well, you're just in time because it's going to be an exciting show today. In the studio with us is Tega Supreme and, of course, Mr. Brutalistics. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Welcome. We are going to be talking sports inside the locker room, Lagos. Do remember to join us in our conversation. You know we love to hear from you. If you go over to YouTube right now, you'll see our smiling, excited faces. Some of us are wearing colorful jackets and things. It's excellent. You should go see. And of course, send us messages up on that live stream and also on Twitter. Just use the hashtag LockerRoom981. And you can, last but not least, send us comments to our WhatsApp number, which is 0809 444 0981.
Okay, so we'll start off our stories with what's happening with basketball. This one here says LeBron James has yet to play a minute for the Los Angeles Lakers, yet the NBA superstar is already busy in Hollywood. James documentary series Shut Up and Dribble, announced Monday by Showtime. Now, set to debut in October, the month James suits up for his new team. The series looks at the changing role of athletes in the current political and cultural climate against the backdrop of the NBA.
Basically, what this is supposed to be is when you know that news station that likes to back Trump. I'm not mentioning. I'm not selling any voice market today. But one of them was analyzing LeBron James' role when he was talking about how the president is embarrassing, and she said he should just shut up and dribble. Basically, you're an athlete. Don't use your platform. Just play your sport. Don't talk about politics or what's happening in the society. It's none of your business. So now he's going to, that was supposed to be an insult, but that insult is now going to make him a lot of money. This is why he came to LA. A lot of people thought it was basketball and rings and trying to break people's records. Yeah, that may be on the side, but the main thing was life after basketball. Who am I going to be? What am I going to do? And this is part of it. He's always wanted to be in TV. He always wanted to be in music. Um, already for society, he has a lot in going on in Ohio, so he's fine with that. But LA was for the bright lights, and then also for his children.
But what I was going to say is, I think it's also really good because it's not just about life after basketball. It really is about the role of athletes in today's climate.
No. I'm talking of the reason why he moved to LA. Yeah, it's life after basketball. It has nothing to do with. It's a fantastic way to retire. And then his son has a team that he can play with and grow in, excelling. So he was family basically and life after basketball. But everything is happening a bit quicker now. So with the opening of the I Promise School and this coming on, it's just a fantastic one. But it's interesting to say, look, you know what? We're athletes. We have a platform. We have a voice. I mean, think about the followers the athletes have on social media. Think about if LeBron backs something, the amount of people he can influence just by standing up for something, or just by fighting against something, or just by speaking up for somebody. And so he's trying to use this docu-series is just how we as athletes are using or going to use our platforms to influence society a little better. So they use it to abuse him, but he's gonna make some good money from this.
I'm sure Laura Ingram is just like, why did I give him that title?
You know, they should pay some copyright for the name.
No, my darling, no. You get nothing. Okay, we move on now. On to our next story. Super Eagles coach Rohr has backed his assistant Salisu Yusuf, who has been implicated in a sting operation by controversial Ghanaian journalist who caught Yusuf on tape accepting a bribe to fix a player in his team during the African Nations Championship in Morocco.
Not one.
And we remember we were waiting for when this trap was going to be sprung. He says, I saw the video, I saw what happened, and from my experience, Salisu is an honest man. Those people just want trouble. This is people just trying to catch someone else. Salisu does not need that money. He's a victim of this situation. Oh, Rohr. I think perhaps he wants to believe the best, maybe. Can he truly believe what he's saying, or does he not understand that these things do happen?
So, on the one hand, I mean, I've heard a lot of people say very complimentary things about our coach. However, it's one thing to be an honest person, and then it's just another thing to have what I would like to just say, the street smarts to have a basic idea. Look, something about this
Doesn't
optically
feel
is not
right.
right. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it.
If it
And
looks like
it's
a duck and quacks like a duck.
so even, I mean, it probably isn't. But look, for all that's been said that this wasn't a bribe, the players were already in the team and all of that. So it's really just about the smell test. Does this really? Okay, you don't need the money. Why did you take it? Even if you were never going to be influenced by that decision, it's kind of hard to sell subsequently. So, and considering that, look, this is not the first time this has been around and all of that. So considering what happened to, I think it was Amos Adamu back in the day, one would think that at least our administrators, our coaches would have a little bit of the street smart required to avoid putting yourself in a position where people will now start talking about whether you have integrity or not. Even if we have a situation where this just becomes water under the bridge, the fact is that again, for the wrong reasons, Nigeria is in the news for the wrong reasons. Again, it feeds into this continuously an existing theory about Nigerian coaches, and the issue of being influenced, how they pick their teams and things like that. And we go back to when we're talking about this on the 20 team that didn't have an active league and all of that. So where did the players come from? How were you? What's the basis on which you selected
Selecting
them?
them.
So it's all the optics that go in the optics and the effect of all of
I
this.
don't care
across
what
the
General
board.
is saying. He's. Let me tell you. Look. You cannot entrap me with vegetable. It's not possible. I don't eat it.
Tega, what?
I don't eat it. You can't say they steal it in next 10 days. Look. You can't say they entrapped him. If they gave him money and he said no, thank you, would it have been hard? Would it be
Precisely.
entrapment?
Precisely.
If they told him you're going to get 15% of whatever the players get, and he stood up and said, regardless, these players are only going to go on my team,
Based on
but for him to ensure them that, or assure them that, don't worry, they'll be in whatever. Look, there's no entrapment here. They played your mumu, but the press your mumu button, you fail, and you are guilty.
So the question
period.
now should be: do you think the NFF should ask him to resign like Allardyce?
We cannot be thinking for the NFF.
Okay.
You
Because
can't think for
Allardyce
NFF.
England. Well, you know, they
I'm
asked
sorry.
him to
Did you
step
did you
down.
did you say Allardyce for England?
Uh,
And then this is Nigeria, guy. Please know your culture. Just Allardyce for England.
Okay. Okay. This one says Novak Djokovic made a successful start to his Rogers Cup campaign in Toronto in his first match back on the ATP tour since winning Wimbledon last month. Now, although former number one Djokovic wasn't quite at his best, he still had enough to dispatch the Bosnian 6-3, 7-6, 7-3 in 90 minutes. I don't know. Djokovic back at his best?
Yes. After winning Wimbledon, it looks like everything has gone back to normal. So he looks like he's going to start contesting again for Grand Slam titles. After, I mean, that Wimbledon win was just it, beating Nadal and then winning the trophy. So it looks like he's back to normal. And then he came into this game he struggled a bit in the second set, but Bassett just didn't have enough to shake him. But what it means is that, again, the top guns are getting back to be the top guns. Andy Murray last week at the City Open was, I mean, game after game. In fact, he even cried a few tears, or shed a few tears, because of the form that he was getting into. But what it is that the player, Stan Wawrinka, also knocked out Nick Kyrgios yesterday at the Rogers Cup. So what it means is that the big names are coming back, and there's going to be a lot more competition. Let's see if people take something from Nadal and Roger. They've dominated all of last year. They shouldn't hold on again this year. So let's see how it goes for them. But all in all, Rogers Cup seems to be going smoothly.
All right, let's go over and take a couple of messages before we take this very quick break. Chima B. Victor says, Salisu Yusuf doesn't have any excuse. The truth of the matter is that he did collect the money and the camera caught him, so he should just apologize and face the consequences. I said, so Tega, we can't bribe you with vegetable. Well, maybe it depends on the kind of vegetable you're talking about, because if we have well-cooked vegetable, enough meat, enough fish,
You don't know who you're
maybe
talking
no.
about.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue. We'll be talking more sports right here inside the locker room on Smooth 98.1. Move your stopper.
Yeah.
Cannot bribe you with vegetable.
You can't.
Move your stopper.
My-
Your stopper.
I should remove it?
Move it to the end of the ad block line. To the liner. Put it on the liner instead. And do it for the second one as well, so you don't have to Otherwise, you'll forget.
My voice is real. Like my voice is loud. So
Yeah.
I
you
put it
drop
on
my.
zero back.
No,
I
it's
thought you
not zero.
wouldn't.
It's just take it down. You have to watch. You have to watch the peak levels.
Yeah. So just take it down a bit. This man is a gentleman. This lady is British made.
No,
Young
mine
man.
is even on -4 because I have a powerful voice. In minus categories, like otherwise it's peaking. The levels don't sound nice.
My voice
So I
is.
guess I'm a stage speaker. My voice is
My
big.
voice is like if I will say something, you hear me, no
My
should
voice is big. So I have to be conscious, especially because I talk with a lot of animation once I'm on air. But in defense of Salisu,
I mean, it's free money.
no, 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 no. God for.
I think you should slap him.
I hope you people saw it.
Wait.
I was gonna say the thing with entrapment, right, is that the video only shows you one part of it. So he could have been saying no to all these things before,
No.
and they twisted.
Okay.
And
No, no.
that's
also-
that's the
okay.
only defense. I
Because
can
the
offer.
video was there
because
was a
that is
full.
that is the problem with entrapment, is that people would have tried, and they will not show you the previous trials where you have shut down and shut down and shut down. So they offer you an incentive that they also will not show you, plus the one that they show you.
But
That
I mean,
Well, what?
I think we
that's
for
it is perfect.
entrapment.
We're in 3 seconds. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
So sorry. Please tell me after this. We're in. And we are back in. We're still talking sports right here inside the locker room, and behind the scenes, it's rather interesting. Kayode, please, I'll remove this 90s jersey from you if you act like this again next time. But we're moving on. We're talking more sports. Let's talk about Serena Williams, shall we? She has been talking a lot, and emotionally at that. She's revealed what she felt that she was not a good mother and was in a funk before pulling out of the Rogers Cup. This is dealing with postpartum struggles, which led to her Rogers Cup withdrawal. She wrote, "Last week was not easy for me. Not only was I accepting some tough personal stuff, but I was just in a funk. You see, mostly I felt I was not a good mom. It's totally normal to feel like I'm not doing enough for my baby. We've all been there. I work a lot, I train, I'm trying to be the best athlete I can be, but however, that means that although I have been with her every day of her life, is a true art. You are the true heroes."
Wow.
And this is how we just love her.
Best schedule ever. He's under no obligation again to be world #1. He has stayed there for too long. He's under no obligation. Obligation to win. He will schedule his time according to how he will schedule his time. And
feels.
once you're above 30, you can reduce the number of tournaments you must show up in. So I think now that she's recognized what it is, give yourself time and spread your your calendar according to how, so that you have time for family and then you also have time to play. Not while you'll be there on the court and be distracted at every child shouting in the background. So I totally understand. It's a tough struggle, but I guess she'll find a way around it.
Come through, Serena, come through.
Okay, so let's talk about what's happening with Arsenal. And, well, it seems as though they're going to get a new owner very soon. Arsenal shareholder Alisher Usmanov says he will accept rival Stan Kroenke's bid to buy him out for pounds and take full control of the club. A quote here says, "I've decided to sell my shares in Arsenal, which could be the best football club in the world," he said. Despite his shareholding, Usmanov is not part of the board of Arsenal. And the metal magnate made $1 billion bid to buy the Emirates outfit in May 2017, but this was rejected by Kroenke.
Well,
When you say pounds, just sterling is not small money, please. Just say with respect. I'm just
Pound
asking you.
sterling,
Thank you
yes.
so much. Please continue.
yeah, so I mean that's a phenomenal amount of money, but I think the more worrying side for Arsenal fans, acquisition of Manchester United back in the day,
Okay.
and the impact that's had to a very large extent, and I believe till today, on Stan Kroenke is borrowing this money from financial institutions to be able to fund this.
Wow.
This is pretty much the exact same template that the Glazers played to acquire Manchester United. And the argument can be made that despite the huge revenues that Manchester United enjoy, there's still a restriction on what they're able to invest in the long term of the team, and that's why you have the body language you have today of a certain Jose Mourinho. Before people accuse me of changing the story and talking about Mourinho, let me come back.
Please.
Ultimately, Stan Kroenke wants undiluted control of Arsenal. He doesn't want all the divisions and counter views that Usmanov has put on this ultimately the way he wants to. The question remains: what's the value? What's the long-term value for Arsenal fans? And in terms of the ability of the team to develop and compete, when you look at Manchester United, the omens don't look good. Maybe, just maybe, there might be a different story in here. But this is good money for Osmanov, and I understand that he's quite good friends with, I think, Fahad Moshiri, who currently owns it. There is talk that he might then be looking to partner, become a co-investor in Everton, which means that there will be big money coming into Everton, and their
Yeah.
ultimate ambition of being more league.
Which leads me to another controversy. Usmanov, as much as he owned 30%
30%, yeah.
of the club, he wasn't on the board that decided him.
Exactly.
And I think because left to Kroenke, Arsene Wenger will still be manager of Arsenal. He's that kind of guy. He likes to play it safe. He's not going to do that. And so Usmanov wanted radical changes and different developments, and it had to be result based. Any reward you got, any profit based. Kroenke is a little bit more. Let's give it a few minutes or a few months, and all. And then another thing that comes to mind, especially why some of the Arsenal fans are protesting. Some of Arsenal is owned by the fans. So if Usmanov sells his own to Kroenke, then
they're obligated.
They are obligated to now sell their own part, which means that they don't own any parts, which means that they can't complain, which means that they can't do.
Which is what I was I'm like, but it is quite a radical change for a guy who maybe perhaps isn't into that radical, that amount of radical change, because now he pretty much controls what's going to be happening.
What it is, that's what it is. What it is it's not like, I won't say it's a radical change for him. What he wants is, he doesn't need that at a Wenger out drama. Because what it was at that point in time, his hand was forced ultimately to make some changes, and that's what the Arsenal fan trust does. They will force you, and they also own part of the club, so they can come in and shout and make noise and leave the stadium, and they'll be forced. Now that he's the one that owns it, if Unai Emery has a horrible couple of seasons and he decides that he's not going to change, if people per ticket, fine. So that's what. So because the Arsenal, what the Arsenal supporters trust is saying is that now we will not have any say, because first of all, we'll be obligated to sell our parts, and then we cannot shout.
But now, aren't there more funds in there? Won't they be doing more with more money? Is that not what's going to happen? Because the share valuation has changed as well.
But this is the thing. With the money, he has borrowed this money. Somebody has to pay back. So that then means that a lot of the revenue that's coming into the club will start going to those who loan. That means that the funds made available for investing and developing the squad is then further diminished. It then means that you have to go into, you sell to buy, and then you end up being forced to sell some of your better players to now go back into that mode of buying somewhat below the top shelf again.
Right, it's definitely a game changer, perhaps not for the best. But we've got quite a few comments that are coming in up on WhatsApp. Ugo from VI says, we have this tendency to want a little bit more in Nigeria. Generally, it's not something we frown at. Yusuf fell because we accept such things as gifts. No respect for codes in Nigeria. Yeah, I know it sounds like I'm generalizing, but Naso ACM. Ugo, you're not until Biggie from K2 says Novak Djokovic is an icon, but my true icon is Serena Williams. She is the true star, and since she gave birth, it's had a lot of complications on her, so I wish her more rest and a sound mind. She needs it badly. Shego from Ikorodu says Serena should just take a sabbatical or retire, or focus on her baby girl. While watching you with side eye.
Shay says
from Tanzania, big shout out to you.
Amunike is my coach. Tega Salisu Mumu button was pressed twice. He responded 5 times. Please, is Hussein Bolt signing for Manchester United or Aimba? Ogao, Tega, your outfit is takeaway, Joe. Please help me. WhatsApp, sorry.
Thank you very much
Plenty
for
to
that.
say.
Let's move on. We've got more to talk about. Moving away from Arsenal, let's talk about Chelsea. So Chelsea goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois has been linked with the move to Real Madrid. Remember, he didn't report for training with Premier League club on Monday, and it's understood that the Blues do not know 26-year-old will return. It's just feeling like a diva, but I
He's
can't be there today,
look.
guys. I'm busy.
Players are just trying to force
I'm
their move.
busy.
At least he didn't show up in Madrid at their stadium waiting for transfer deadline. But what it is that the deadline is tomorrow. Players need to sign. The thing for Chelsea is that no, I mean in certain terms that um if they don't get a replacement, he's not going anywhere. So if he likes, he should go AWOL. When his rent season starts, he will come back. But it looks like they're going to try and get the Athletic Bilbao goalkeeper, and if they can't sign that deal, then he most likely will be going. Because if you're a coach, especially a new coach who wants to start building, start getting your team into winning ways, you don't want that one person that is frowning in the locker room or sulking every time he's on the pitch. You want somebody that is invested, like you, that also wants to win. So if you ask Sarri, he'd rather have this Courtois situation sorted out.
Okay.
But he's not going to give out his world-class goal and be empty just because Real Madrid. But so I think Athletic Bilbao goalkeeper him is really crazy. And that back.
Kepa Aretha Bazela. Yes, Aretha something.
It's a long name. So once they sort him out, they can then they can sell Courtois. Until then, he's going to have to find a way.
All right. Paul Pogba is back in the news again, and the former Manchester defender, that's Rio Ferdinand, has warned that the club should not sell Pogba amid interest from Frenchmen or from Barcelona. The Spanish champions made an offer of 45 million plus Andre Gomez and Yerry Mina for Pogba on Monday, and United understood to have rejected the offer. Ferdinand tweets, "Don't you dare allow this, Ed. Man UFC is Pogba's home. Silence these rumors as soon as possible." I know. Don't you think it's a great deal?
No.
Andre Gomez?
No. Andre who?
Andre who?
Andre what? Andre when?
And Yerina.
Andre how?
In fact, let me ask you, Andre why?
Taking it very personal in the studio.
No. I'm sorry. This isn't even worthy of being a rumor. You cannot sign a marquee player such as Paul Pogba, and then even if you were contemplating selling him for that, that's trading a Porsche for scrap metal. I mean, that's the simplest way I can put it. And and even if you contemplate doing that, it is then a measure of further proof. We just talked about the whole implication of the Glazers financing and all of that stuff. It then lends that this is a problem for Manchester. It is already a problem. And then are these the best that you can really get? The transfer market is a tight market at the moment. Special gifted players, marquee players are at a premium. It's really difficult. And this is something Arsene Wenger kept repeating over the years, and then people kept saying, no. How much did a certain Ousmane Dembele go for? And all of that. So that market for top-of-the-line players, it's not worth. So it's not worth it. They should look for other ways to finance their investment. If they borrowed before, maybe they can borrow again a little bit more to do what they do.
All right, let's take one of your comments before we take a very quick break. Shego Manuel sent a message to say good luck to the Falconets against Haiti. They lacked a good number 9 against Germany, and Ajibade must improve. We shall bear that in mind. But when we come back from the break, it's our final sports story right here inside the locker room.
Every small thing that Ajibade must improve. Wasn't she isolated up front? People be saying it as if they gave the girl ball, she refused to play.
That's the only person they know to call. So
that's because she was isolated up front. So they didn't. She's the star player, but they didn't see her impact.
Yeah.
So you can't.
That's it. Just let them focus on the star. They're like, no, it's your. We like savior. We have savior complex in this country. We need one person to save us all.
Also useful. It was just. And now they want to sell him for 40-something million. When I say this Batimo needs to be tied to his stake and bonds from his small toe. Money. And I've been there, crucify him now!
Front and center!
I'm telling you, him. What should I bring that up?
Andre, why?
Andre Gomez. Even Andre said he can't even vex for this kind of thing because he knows useless boy.
Oh, yeah.
That guy is lucky, sha. I don't care how useless he is, he's lucky. What it is that deceived Portugal to take him as a first team player? What it is that deceived Barcelona to use money that they worked for and buy him?
Oh, dear.
Jesus Lord. This fire is still burning.
It will burn till the end of August, I'm told. I saw in the press, I saw online somewhere.
They should pour sand now. They don't have sand.
How many sand can you pour?
All those planes that used to fly in the air. Because it can't be this. Do you know when the tide burn is still this high? What are they point now?
That's
We're almost ready.
Retardant.
5
Ready.
seconds. And we are back in. You are listening to the final few minutes of Sports Inside the Locker Room, but it's okay. Don't be sad. You can catch up with everything we've spoken about this morning by simply going over to final story for the day. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp is not concerned by his defensive thing serious, but it was not possible tonight as he played on Saturday. Dejan Lovren is in, but he's not had a long holiday after the World Cup final. And as for Raggy and Joel, it's probably not good enough as they're not fit for the weekend. But we don't need 12 centre halves.
True, they don't. And considering the amount of investment they've put into this team over the last couple of seasons, you would hope that the team has, and I believe they have more than enough depth to make up for these prized injured players. And hopefully, as we get into the Premier League season, Liverpool will be able to live up to the potential.
He wants